Hello, good day everyone, how's it going? I'm Sean David. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're ready for some more old school NBA. In today's episode, I want to talk about probably one of my favorite feuds of all time and probably one of the best times to be an NBA fan. The feud between Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman and how crazy that feud actually was in hindsight. But before we start with this video, I want to give a quick shout out to my Patreons. Thanks a lot you guys for supporting the show. It's really appreciated. And I would say let's dig right into today's episode.
All he can do is be a post feeder and be a presence out there just so they have to honor him.
4 seconds to shoot. Jordan missed it just before the shot clock sounds. Rodman battling like crazy, but can't quite hold on to it. Hornacek, he and Malone, Rodman and Malone, and Rodman just trips Malone up. They got to call a flagrant here. They've got to call a flagrant. It's the third on Rodman. He and Karl Malone, regrettably, are scheduled to wrestle in one of those bogus events next month. Why Malone wants to lower himself to that is anyone's guess. And Rodman apparently wants to start the wrestling now.
It seems that you've never been able to throw Karl Malone off his game. How do you approach Malone?
But I don't respect a guy that's that big, crying about a foul that my little baby can hit me with and fall on the ground.
I'm not going to get caught up in a Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman situation. I've walked away of situations in my life, and you call everything from a wimp to things you can't say on TV.
I don't respect a guy like that. You know, I'm 220 pounds. I get hit hard every game, every night, and I don't bitch or complain about nothing.
After the Game 2 victory, Rodman said, "Hey, if the referees let me play, I could guard Malone all day."
Now, when we take a look at Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman, we can easily say that they have a lot of similarities. Both players were a big question mark when they entered the NBA, but also both players stood out very fast because of their incredible work ethic. Karl Malone, for example, only needed 2 years to become one of the best power forwards in the league and helped the Utah Jazz to become a yearly playoff contender for every single year of his career. Dennis Rodman, however, landed on a super loaded team with the Detroit Pistons and really had to fight his way into the starting lineup. What many people seem to forget is that Dennis Rodman was a solid scorer in his early Piston days and even averaged double figures in one season. Now, obviously, Dennis Rodman was not as good offensively as Karl Malone, but still they had a lot in common.
Out of Rodman and the Mailman, I think you guys would agree, both of them were ahead of the curve when it comes to their time in the weight room.
Conditioning.
Both of these guys lived in the weight room. And if you look at Karl, his rookie year, when he, you see how big and how muscular, and still to be able to be that flexible and run the floor. And Rodman at 6'6", 6'7", he was always giving up 2 or 3 inches. He was always giving up 40 or 50 pounds, and he's still averaging 15 rebounds a game.
Yes, incredible numbers indeed. In the late 1980s, Rodman and Malone didn't have a real rivalry. Of course, knowing Dennis, he wanted to prove himself and really did his best to contain Malone. But that was Rodman's attitude in general. Here we have a quick look at the matchups between the two in the late 1980s. It shouldn't be a big surprise to you that Karl Malone is easily leading in scoring, even though Rodman had 18 points in their first matchup. But therefore, on the other hand, Karl Malone doesn't stand a chance against Rodman in rebounds. In general, it's exactly as you would expect. Then in 1991, everything changed between Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman. It is the 14th of December and the Utah Jazz are facing the Detroit Bad Boy Pistons, and Karl Malone is giving an elbow to Isaiah Thomas, becoming Detroit's public enemy number 1.
He comes down slower than any guy in the league. Down he goes, Isaiah. We got a whistle. Isaiah's eyes cut badly. Oh, he took a blow to the head. Blood all over his forehead. Isaiah Thomas, Karl Malone gets separated. Here comes, off the bench, Walker throwing punches. They have to be restrained. And the referees are taking him off the floor. Chuck Daly's going crazy. Isaiah Thomas hurt badly.
Now, after that scene, just like any other Detroit Piston, Dennis Rodman really disliked Karl Malone because the brotherhood in the Pistons locker room was super loyal. So Dennis Rodman kept that attitude even when he left the Pistons. Yes, he did. And it would all peak when the Chicago Bulls would meet the Utah Jazz in the NBA Finals for 2 times in a row. In the 1997 and 1998 Finals, the matchups between Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman were next to the performances of Michael Jordan, the true highlight of the series. Now guys, sit down and enjoy some of the best moments of Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman.
Controversy out here in Utah about Dennis Rodman being a distraction. Michael said that is not the case with all the distractions they've had all year. They refuse to have any distractions at this point. Their focus is winning an NBA championship.
Rodman off the bench. Let's see who he replaces. Longley has 2 fouls. Out to Harper, open 3, missed it. Malone battling Rodman, and it's tipped to Stockton.
You watch Malone and Rodman battling under the boards. Malone's going all out as he runs the floor. They both kick each other a little bit.
Malone on that left block, this time against Rodman. Takes him into the lane. Tries to muscle up, but loses it. It's Malone. And it's Utah with the lead. Moving down toward a minute to play in the first. Chicago by 1. And a whistle from Dick Bavetta. Watch the byplay here between Malone and Rodman.
So Malone's going to have his way down there. Just have to be careful and take his time and not draw offensive foul. I talked to Rodman after the last game, and he felt that Malone traveled a lot. That's why he was able to get away from him.
Malone in the lane. Up and under against Rodman.
He's getting such deep position right now in Rodman. The Utah Jazz are executing their offense to perfection.
If you take a clip of Karl Malone in a game, how many times do you see Karl Malone will be in his referee's ear? How many times? 90% of the time. 90% of the time. And he's averaging 28 points a game, and he gets every call there is.
Malone driving on Rodman and threw it away, intended for Isley.
You can see early in this game, Malone is being forced out on the perimeter once again. They're not giving him the low post position.
Right through Malone's hands and out of bounds. He and Rodman really jostling in that low post.
I mean, if you're going to get fouled, get fouled. Don't just try to just go to the basket and then fall down by yourself and no one touched you, and all of a sudden you cried about, oh, he touched me. Don't bitch about that. You know, I wish I was 6'8", about 250 or 260.
Have you taken a little bit too much credit for Malone's struggles, John?
I don't think so. I think we are now giving credit where credit is due. And besides all the things he does off court and what color his hair is going to be, this guy is a great defensive player. He's a smart player, and he is in the way of Karl scoring this time.
Now, as you can see, there was a real battle going on between Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman. But at the 1998 NBA Finals, they would take their battle one step further. With Dennis, you already know that everything is possible, but this one really tops them all. Rodman had taken a day off because he was scheduled to fly to Auburn Hills, Michigan to appear on WCW's Monday Nitro as a member of the NWO, the New World Order, to start a feud with Karl Malone. Yes, Karl Malone, the guy he had just battled 2 times in a row in the NBA Finals. It would be a tag team match pitting Hulk Hogan and Dennis Rodman against Karl Malone and Diamond Dallas Page. Growing up, Karl Malone was a huge wrestling fan, and Page and Malone became close friends after the chance of meeting earlier in 1997 in Houston. It sounds crazy at first, but this really happened. This was also the reason why Karl Malone showed the Diamond Dallas Page sign at the NBA Finals. You know, this is exactly why I love the 90s NBA, because those kind of stories never could happen in today's NBA. Super crazy, but that's exactly what 90s NBA is all about.
Maybe he's trying to gain an edge, just like you're trying to gain an edge by tangling yourself up with guys, by whispering in their ears, by trying to get them all messed up and their heads turned around. It's all gamesmanship. You're good at it. Maybe he's good at it in a different way.
All right, you guys, that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this video. Just one more thing, if you want to hear podcasts with me and former NBA legends, please check out the Basketball Time Machine podcast. You will find it on iTunes and on Spotify. All right, you guys, see you next time. Peace. I'm out.